Hi everybody, my name is Jens Larsen. In this video I'm going to take a look at a few phrases from a Jonathan Kreisberg solo that he played and recorded on his album Trioing. The solo is on the Cole Porter standard All of You, and what I'm mostly going to talk about is going to be how he constructs some melodies using so different arpeggios that he's probably kind of come up with himself. Actually, they're not necessarily traditional arpeggios like stacks of thirds. And that's really one of the things I like about his playing. Among other things, another thing that's really nice about his playing is how he's using a lot of interesting rhythms and a lot of triplets in this medium swing. But I'm going to focus mostly on the arpeggios in this video. If you want to learn more about jazz guitar, improve the way that you solo, check out some interesting arpeggios or chord voicings, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to make sure not to miss anything, then click the little bell notification icon next to the subscribe button. Kreisberg's recording of All of You is in the key of E flat major. So that's also the most common key for this song. It's a Cole Porter tune, and Cole Porter really uses a lot of 4 minor in a major key as a color in his songs, and that's also the case here. The whole song is really sort of revolving around the change between the 4 minor, so in the key of E flat, the A flat minor 6, and the tonic, the E flat major 7. And most of the examples that I'm going to go over are actually also really on that chord change. In a major key, when you have the 4 minor chords, so in this case the A flat minor 6 and E flat major, then the scale that you would normally use when you're improvising on this would be an A flat minor melodic scale. And that means that it's this scale. And that's also what you hear Kreisberg use most of the time, even though in a few places, and also in one of the examples that I'm going to go over, he is actually using just a straight Dorian sound and mixing that into it as well. So of course there are some different options available, but what you would probably find the most natural choice would be sort of the melodic minor sound on these 4 minor chords. This first example is in many ways quite simple. It's really in the beginning of the solo, and it's really just on the A flat minor going to E flat major 7, and the first arpeggio is just an A flat minor 6 arpeggio, so A flat, C flat or B, E flat, F, and then skipping up to the 9th of the chord, and then there stepwise resolving down to the 3rd of the E flat major 7, and then adding this E flat major 7 chord afterwards. Of course I can't be really sure exactly what fingering is being used on the recording, but if you're using the fingering that I'm using here, then one sort of important thing to maybe point out with this is that this whole line is sort of built around this A flat minor 6-9 shape. And it can be really interesting to just take different shapes of chords that you want to play over and see if you can turn them into lines like this. And it is possible that that's actually how this is constructed. The beginning of this example is really one arpeggio with almost exclusively large intervals. So we have A flat, E flat and B flat, all like 5th intervals in between each other, and then sliding up half step to the B, and then skipping up to the F, and then up to a D flat. So really what this is spelling out is an A flat minor 6, 9, 11 arpeggio. And from there, the line continues with a descending scale run that's actually sort of a diminished B flat 7 diminished scale run, so just from B down the scale, just a diminished scale here, and then adding one chromatic note to resolve to the G on the E flat chord. The way this arpeggio is constructed is coming out of sort of a very common way of chaining together quintal arpeggios. So quintal arpeggios are of course just stacks of 5th intervals, so like this, which is also the beginning of the arpeggio that's used here in the example. So A flat, D, E flat and B flat. And then normally if you have a minor 7 chord, then one way you can work with this is you go take this first quintal arpeggio, slide up a half step, and then play another quintal arpeggio. In this case that would then be B, G flat and D flat. But that doesn't really fit the chord, because in this case we have an A flat minor 6. So to get it to fit, I think Kreisberg actually just changed the G flat into an F, and then we have this one. And that's probably how this sort of came about. The reason that I can keep on publishing videos every week is that I have a community of people over on Patreon that are supporting my channel. If you want to help me keep making videos, then check out my Patreon page. And if you join us over there, then I can also give you something in return for your support. The third example is really just taking the arpeggio from the previous example and then developing that idea a little bit and using it to construct a longer line. So he starts off with the same A flat minor 6, 9, 11 arpeggio, so that's like this. And then from there he plays the same, but then from the third of the A flat chord, so that's a C flat. So we get C flat, G flat, and D flat. And then this time it's a slightly different arpeggio because it's a C flat major 7 sharp 11. So you first get this quintal arpeggio, then slide up a whole step to the E flat, and then play the E flat, the B flat, and the F, which gives us first just, in this case we have the root 5th, 9th, 3rd, major 7, sharp 11. And this is of course still something that's really getting the 4 minor sound across, because it's really just still some sort of B flat major 7 sound in E flat major. Then from there he moves on to resolve this, and he does that by just moving up a third again to E flat, and then I think he means to play the same kind of construction, but the second note is missing. So he plays the E flat, then there's no B flat, and then he skips up to the F, and then up to the G, and then up to the D. So it's sort of the beginning of the same melodic idea, but I think also he has to stop because the first two here are actually taking up so much space that he's already in the E flat major 7 bar, and then when he's playing this, he's actually already moving into the F half diminished bar that follows, and at that point he just stops. So that's why we probably get this without the B flat and then ending on the D here. For me, the easiest way to play these arpeggios is to use a slide in that one place where I have 2 notes on a string. So if we just take the A flat arpeggio as an example, so first this quintal arpeggio, then I'm sliding up to the next note, and that's sort of giving my right hand some time to move up, skip a string, and then play the F here. And the same goes of course when I'm playing the same thing from C flat. So and both in the ascending and the descending version I'm sliding between the D flat and the E flat. If you want to check out some more melodic ideas using larger intervals from another modern player, then check out this video where I'm analyzing a few phrases from a Larsen solo on Green Dolphin Street, and where he's using spread voice triads and sus4 triads to create some really interesting melodies. If this is the first time you see one of my videos and you want to learn more about jazz guitar, then subscribe to my channel. If you want to help me keep making videos, then check out my Patreon page. That's about it for this week. Thank you for watching, and until next week.